Scott had told me that if he went back to jail, that his family was going to kill me.
You've had a lot of chances on probation. This is your fourth motion to revoke. Your revocation is not because of the witness who just testified. This revocation is because of you and what you did not do. Court is calling 2016 CR 8204, State of Texas versus Terrence Lee Scott. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Brittany Mitchell for the state.
Defense?
Melissa Christian for the defendant.
Are you Terrence Lee Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
Got to show you what's entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision and State's Motion to Supplement pending motion to revoke probation. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Terrence Lee Scott who was placed on community supervision in 2016 CR 8204 for the offense of assault causing bodily injury, family violence enhanced on June 7, 2017 for a term of 4 years and extended for a total of 2 years and 4 months? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
On or about the 14th day of June 2023 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Terrence Lee Scott, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
Excuse me. Do not speak behind the court reporter when we're on the record. All right, to that violation of condition number 2, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
On or about the 27th day of April 2023 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Terrence Lee Scott, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true? All right, could y'all please whisper in the box? Did you understand by pleading true to violations 2 and 2, the court could find it true, grant the motion, sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $1,500 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violations 2 and 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find 2 and 2 true. Is there an agreement?
No, Judge.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're requesting revocation of the full term.
Defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, Mr. Scott has been on probation since June of 2017. He did not get a violation report for the first 2 years he was on probation. Since that time, there have been different alters and amends to address different issues with Mr. Scott. He has been working as a foreman with Tradesmen International, provides support to 4 children. He's had 403 cumulative days in jail. Mr. Scott is not opposed to getting any kind of drug or alcohol treatment. The problem is reporting weekly or having to submit weekly to UAs. He loses his job, and so that's been a complete issue for him. We're asking for some leniency from the court, for some thinking outside the box, which this court likes to do, and to assist Mr. Scott or to terminate him because he expires tomorrow. And I realize they filed the MTR in time. I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying that he's basically been on 6 years probation for a 4-year term.
Right. But here's the problem, Mr. Scott. The reason why you have the number of times you need to report is because you violated your probation. I don't add conditions just to add conditions. And you've been before me before June 13, 2019. There was a violation of condition number 1. And can you text off the record? Can you text her and let her know I see her in the waiting room and I'm gonna bring her in right after this? Oh, this one's different. Okay. All right. Is that Vaughn? All right. So the probation officer for this case is going to be zooming in shortly. But June 13, 2019, there was a violation of condition number 1. And I denied the motion and altered amend conditions. And then September 24th, that really wasn't a violation on your part. That was just a request to change your address. And then we ended up having a contested hearing scheduled. And we came back in March. There was a violation of condition number 28. And that's when you were extended. And that's when you were told to enroll in the BIP course by March 9th. You either had a choice of doing the patch or either weekly UAs for 30 days and then random UAs thereafter. So you had a choice. You could have done the patch.
I chose the patch and I was waiting. That's when I went to ISF
Okay.
after that.
All right. And then,
That was last year.
then on October 25th, we had a violation of condition number 1. And the motion was denied. And that's when you went to ISF. And then we tried felony drug court. And then felony drug court, you were not allowed, because of your history. So the reason why you're on the UAs is because you haven't been doing what the court has been requesting of you. All right, you can lower your hand. Can you state your name for the record, please?
First name Drew, last name Wallace.
And are you the probation officer for Terrence Lee Scott?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Can you tell the court, the state is asking for revocation. Of course, the defense does not want revocation. She just wants her client to be terminated unsatisfactorily. What has he done?
So while on probation, so I obtained the case after the probationer completed state ISF. Upon completion of state ISF, he was placed into the ISP program. And while in ISP, he has not completed anything. The one big thing that I know in order to complete his probation was he needed to complete BIP and pay the restitution. And there has been no progress with that BIP course, and there has been no payment of that restitution.
Okay. So state is asking for revocation. What is probation's recommendation in this case?
Probation's recommendation at this time was for the probationer, is revocation as well.
All right. State or defense, do you have any questions of the officer?
Briefly. Mr. Wallace.
Yes, ma'am.
So you came on after the local ISF?
He completed state.
Okay. On June 14th, 2023. I guess I'm reading that the probationer was supposed to come to court that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened that day?
As far as I was advised, the probationer showed up to court.
Okay, so that objection will be sustained.
Okay. No further questions, Charlie.
Any questions?
Mr. Wallace, can you tell us what things that Mr. Scott has done and has completed?
Yes, I can. The probationer has completed state ISF. He did not qualify for the felony drug court. His safe PU was waived as well. He also completed 40 hours of community service, basically waived due to COVID vaccine. And he has also completed weekly UAs for 30 days back in 21, a TAP evaluation conducted in 2019, and then also completed dual diagnosis outpatient back in 2017, as well as completed BIP once in 2017 as well, and then provided a DNA sample as well.
Okay, and has he paid anything towards anything?
The last payment that I have on file for the probationer is back in February of 2023.
Okay. And when did you get assigned to this case? What's the date that you picked this case up?
Yes, let me go here. The probationer entered into ISP in December of 22, and I was also assigned to him at that time as well.
When in 2022, I'm sorry?
12/9/22.
And do your computer records show what he completed or what he did prior to 12/9/2022?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and those were some of the things that you just told us, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your policy if people have not paid or have not completed programs, you recommend termination, or I'm sorry, you recommend revocation?
Not for lack of payments and things like that. Typically what we will recommend in those regards for like if there's still money to be owed to the court, we will recommend extensions and such.
But if they have not completed certain programs, you're going to recommend revocation pretty much across the board, right?
Not necessarily, ma'am. It's a case by case basis.
Okay. And do you know how many days that Mr. Scott has spent in jail during this period of time, the last 4 to 6 years that he's been on probation?
I'm not aware of the total amount of time that he has spent in jail during his probation term. No, ma'am.
Okay. Does your computer show that he has been incarcerated for different violations?
Yes, due to MTR warrants and things like that.
Okay. And also awaiting different types of whether or not he's going to be allowed into certain programs, waiting to see if beds are available.
Yes, ma'am.
Pass it.
Okay, and just briefly, you mentioned that he has not done anything, I think under the ISP supervision. Is that when you took over?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Post release from ISF, he was placed into the ISP program. And like I said, that in consulting with the court, the court advised me that the two key things that they wanted the probationer to go ahead and complete was BIP and restitution. And I have neither progress on either of those.
All right. Is there anything else before the court makes its decision?
Judge, the only other thing that I'd like the court to know is Mr. Scott's wife is here, even though she's indicated in some of the violation reports. She thinks that he's a great dad. She likes him being.
All right.
able
And
to
what
see
is
his-
her name?
You know what, Judge? I don't have it in front of me. I
Is it
apologize.
Angelica Scott?
Yes.
All right. So when was the no contact order lifted on that? Because I ordered no contact.
The harmful content.
No. I ordered no contact in my order.
I believe,
Let me
Judge,
see
it was
when I-
all- I believe it was amended to a no harmful.
All right, let me see where that was. I want to have her come forward. But if that no contact order was changed, it was not from me, it was from another judge, but she can come forward.
I honestly, I don't think she wants to come forward. To be
Okay.
honest, I'm just giving the court a summary that he has been supportive of the 4 children that they have together. They've been together. for a
Oh,
long-
she says she wants to come forward.
Okay.
So,
Hey.
all right, State, is there a police report involving her?
Yes.
All right, then you may not want to testify.
It's fine.
Well, no, because let me
It's
just
not,
tell you some issues. If there's a police report where you call the police on,
Okay.
well, let me just finish, okay? If there's a police report and his counsel will be able to tell you this, if there's a police report where you call the police on him for any type of family violence or anything of that nature,
mhm.
and if you want to come before this court and say, everything's been going great, he didn't do what I called the police for. I haven't seen the police report. I don't want to know what it says. I've never seen the state or the police pursue charges against someone who accuses somebody of family violence, and then they want to come to court and say that they didn't do it. I have yet to see somebody have charges brought against them. But that being the case, if that is what that says, then what will end up happening is I'll need to have an attorney appointed to you to let you know there is a potential maybe for criminal charges.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm assuming what you're going to come and tell me is that he's a great father. You want him in your life. You don't want him to go to prison.
No, ma'am.
Oh, you're gonna be saying that you want him to go to prison?
I want him to get help.
Oh, okay. All right.
He is a great father.
Will she
Okay.
be sworn in now?
No, because she's gonna need an attorney to
It's not a
represent.
police report.
It's
It's not a police report.
It's an incident. I hadn't reviewed it. I just got sent it. It's an incident detail report.
What do you
All right.
object?
Could I see the report? Any objections to the court receipt, seeing what the report is about? So I'll know whether or not she needs an attorney.
It's not, she is not the reporting person.
Okay.
So, and it's a welfare check.
Right.
Melissa.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so do we need her as a witness? She's gonna say he needs help. Does anybody want to call her as a witness?
I would like to call her as a witness.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Angelica Maria Scott.
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat that?
Angelica Maria Scott.
State.
Ms. Scott, are you aware that Mr. Scott has been reporting to probation that he is residing, I believe with his, I forgot what he said, a mother or in San Antonio.
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
All right, that'll be sustained.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Scott prior to today?
June 11th of 2023.
Okay. Do you recall the police getting called to your home on June 13th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know sign language?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign to them that day when you opened the door?
Yes, I did.
And what did you tell them in sign language?
That he was there.
And why did you feel the need to use sign language instead of speaking?
Because Mr. Scott had told me that if he went back to jail, that his family was going to kill me.
All right. All right, I believe that's enough. Do you have any questions, defense?
Scott, what are you asking the court for today?
I want the court to give him help. I don't think a long-term sentencing is right because Mr. Scott does have a drug and alcohol problem around family members and friends. I tried to help him. I tried to get him help. He says he's grown, but he's a wonderful father. But as far as a spouse, no. I just want him what's best because he is there for my child. He's been there for my child since she was 16 months. And their bond is you couldn't tell that's not his child. I want help from him, but a long-term sentencing, no. If he can stay away from people, then I know he can be best. I know he can be better.
All right, thank you so much for letting me know. All right,
Oh, can I be dismissed?
sure. All right, Mr. Scott. I want you to know that I listen to testimony. I listen to everything that everyone says. I give people chances when they're on probation. You've had a lot of chances on probation, and all you had to do was do what I was asking you to do. And this is, I think, 1, 2, 3. This is your 4th motion to revoke. And people will always come to me and you know what they say? Well, I can't go to prison because I'll lose my job. I don't know why people don't think about that when you're on probation. So the court is finding violation of condition 2 and 2 true. Court will grant the motion. And I want you to know your revocation is not because of the witness who just testified. This revocation is because of you and what you did not do, because you have a contract with the court. The contract is not with your attorney. It's not with the state. It's not with your family members. It's not with Ms. Scott. Do you understand? All right. The court is going to grant the motion. The court is going to sentence you to 10 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, credit for any inpatient treatment. There's a $1,500 fine. Time and money to run it is to run concurrent. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Angelica Scott, Amir, Amir Allen, Bashan, Binshawn Allen, Sirius, Sirius Allen. There's to be no contact with them. There's to be no contact with them through third parties. Do you understand? That's yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.